Welcome to the astrology report for September the 11th to the 17th. And it's an amazing week ahead. We're having something happening in the sky that can bring prosperity and abundance and even some significant love stories into your story of your life in a very dramatic and decisive and actionable way, in a way we haven't seen since 2011, before that 1976, and before that 1964. So I'm talking about a relatively rare sky story that we're going to go into about how this may play out in your life based on your sun sign, moon sign, but probably most accurate, your rising sign. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lori Lothe, and I am a Western tropical astrologer using whole sign houses. I also love the minor asteroids, fixed stars, and Sabian symbols. You get a lot of this kind of content on my 24 plus videos a month if you hit that bell for notifications and subscribe. To all of my amazing regulars, thank you for being here. You've kept this channel growing, and we just topped in September the 40,000 mark, and I'm so appreciative. So let's talk about this Jupiter-Venus thing in general. Let me also describe to you other things happening this week. It's not all just Jupiter-Venus, but that is by far the blazing headline. I think I may call this video extravagance, but I almost say extravagant luck, because that might get you to listen to what I'm about to tell you. Probably that's what I'll call this video. You know, luck is Jupiter-Venus energy. They're both what we call greater benefics. And Venus is traveling through Leo. And she's been in Leo since June, and she leaves around October 7th. And that is extraordinarily rare. You or I, none of us here have lived through that experience. That's brand new, that duration of her stay in tropical Leo. So it's a very special, very potentized Venus. And we've seen in the collective as she's been going through here and then retrograding July 29th to September 3rd and coming back in direct motion. I've seen a lot of stories in the news about relationships around famous people, Venus and Leo, and breaking up. In Canada, Prime Minister Trudeau and his wife, Sophie Gregoire, broke up. In the big world, we've seen other famous people, leaders, breaking up stories, marriages falling apart. Venus, love. Leo, celebrity. We also can say that this is a money story because Venus is the goddess of money, and she's a ruler of Taurus, which can be connected to the stock markets, to currencies, to things to do with prosperity and abundance from the earth. And she's in Leo, which is very grand, flamboyant, performative, entitled, fiery energy. And we have to pay attention this week to what the sun is doing, because he's the one who tells her what to do. And as this week begins, starting on Monday, as it culminates on Saturday, Sunday of this coming weekend, we're going to feel this building square tension between Venus, now direct in the sign of Leo. And she's aiming for that 15-degree mark, where she's going to come into a perfect square to Taurus to Jupiter at 15 degrees of Taurus. This makes the hot spot of the sky in your story, in your natal sky, the Taurus Leo square axis of the chart. Now, Leo and Taurus are fixed signs. They do not prefer change. And so therefore, there's something energetically frictiony and gritty, requiring decisive action, that also may mean it needs to involve change. So keep that in mind, because we're also saying this doesn't just fall in your lap. Squares require momentum, decisions, and actions, but you can become more prosperous, or love affairs can lift up. But you could also just be indulgent and overly spend, and you could go into a mode of I don't know, revelry, hedonism, overspending. We're going to look at your sign, because it's going to be different for your sign than it is for every person in the story. For example, if you're a Leo sun, moon, or rising, obviously Taurus sun, moon, or rising, you're really, really feeling this, okay? That's quite obvious. As closer you are to that 15 degree of those Taurus and Leo sun, moon, and risings, it's definitely hitting you at a very personal place. But also anyone angular to that, those are the other fixed signs of Aquarius, which is opposite Leo, correct? I mean, opposite Leo, yeah, where Venus is traveling, my brain today, and where Taurus is sitting opposite is Scorpio. So you Scorpio and Taurus, Leo, Aquarian people, and one of you are really feeling this week as a very powerful and intense energy. And we all in our charts will feel it differently, and I will be going through that in detail for your sign. Please wait for that. I want to talk about general principles first. Now, when we talk about Jupiter in contact with the planet Venus, they are both about expansion and luck, and they're both benefics, but they're in a difficult and grinding 90-degree square, which is a tension angle. and yet they're still benefics. Got to give him that. Jupiter's retrograde. So he's going back over old ground. He started retrograding on the 4th of September and won't go direct till the end of December. So Jupiter's like more introspective, more inner guru, wants to bring wealth from within, not from without, because he's a wealth god. So it's your inner wealth, what inner treasures are there in your life that he's trying to help you excavate in your Taurus part of your sky. Venus, though, is all like super going direct, flamboyant, and she's going to be in the square to Jupiter when it perfects, okay? On the weekend, on like Saturday and Sunday, she's going to be sitting on the Great Bear Star, the back of the bear in the constellation of the Great Bear, and it's called Dubhe, D-U-B-H-E, and that star can be very fierce and protective and very large energy. We know that in the Western world as the Big Dipper. So we've got a big star energy going here, and we also have a Sabian symbol, where Venus is going to perfect at the end of the week this building energy. Coming up on the weekend, we're seeing a connection to the Sabian symbol, rounding up from 15 Leo to 16 Leo. Sunshine just after a storm. Keyword recovery. Now, this feels positive, and unfortunately, when it comes to things like the stock markets, with her square to Uranus coming up the week after, if there is a sudden lifting in the equity markets or the stock markets or the apparent good news economic stuff or some buoyancy because the Federal Reserve doesn't want to raise interest rates and there's a signal to the markets, you may see a bounce in the markets. You may this week as we approach the weekend, the week of the 11th through the 17th. I don't trust it because of the square to Uranus and many other factors, including Mars colliding with the South Node at the end of September, October, historically known to look at as being seen to be downdrafts in the markets, bear markets, stock market corrections of major magnitude historically. Go listen to my Mars Libra video for details on that. But in your own life, you're not a stock market and you're not an economy, you're a human being. And so you may feel the sense of a jubilant recovery and optimism as this storm is the sunshine is breaking after some storm. You can't get any better, right? Because the Leo sun and Venus. But when this Leo sun is breaking, when the Venus is having the sunshine recovery energy, and the keywords for the Sabian symbols, because I have my favorite book by Diana E. Roche here, she says recovery, recuperation, relief, improvement, restoration, healing, reestablishment, renewal, revival, rebirth, cleansing, purging, clearance, and health. We want to talk about the health for sure. And we really want to talk about the health that on Saturday and Sunday, when Venus comes into that square to Jupiter, what happens is that the sun is moved into Virgo, the sign of health. So it could be economic health, it could be personal health that are going to be a big part of this week's great energy field. Now, if you go back to August of 2011, there was this energy in the sky in your chart at that time. As we go through all signs, I'll be delineating what that might have looked like for you. And you want to use history as a barometer or as a guide, cycles repeat. And well, planets are all in different places. We didn't have Uranus and Taurus back then. You'll get some sense of similar energy. Something is like that time back then. So I'll be using my example as we go through the all signs. By the way, if you're wondering about this necklace, because I have been sharing it with you guys, it's like a rattlesnake made of brass, a tail, and this Ouroboros, a snake eating its tail bracelet. I am supporting a wonderful artist called Coppertis Wu, and all the links to these actual items, which I've gotten so many compliments on since I've been wearing it by people walking down the street and stuff. Check it out. 50% off. I don't make money on this. It's just a share of art that I love. But I've got a code for you guys, Lori, Lori 15. At his site, Coppertis Wu. All the information in the description box. These jewels and more are all based on animals from Mother Nature in the support of the magic of art to support the planet. So let's get going and talk more about the sky by showing it to you. And this will give you an idea of a visual picture that can be very helpful for those of you in my crew learning astrology, which are as amazingly a majority of you. Now I've bumped this way forward, and you can see by the time we get to even the 18th, there's Venus at 15 degrees, and she's squaring Jupiter at 15 degrees. And so that's what we're aiming for at the end of the week on kind of the weekend time frame. Let me double check the dates here. Yeah, the 16th is Saturday, the 17th is Sunday in my time zone. So this is this pinnacle energy, but it will wane for about 4 or 5 days after, and you're feeling it building up all of this week ahead. So we have this intense energy coming into this story. The reason I'm really fixating a bit on the health matters collectively and individually is that Venus has been in an opposition to Hygeia for hygiene, retrograde in the house of the people or humanity or rules for humanity, Aquarius, the water bearer. And I bet you any money it's going to look like mask mandates or mass suggestions or schools or places of public worship or something. People saying, wear your mask again, for the coronavirus or the new variants that are emerging this fall with COVID, etc. So that just looked like an obvious story, but we have tension with Jupiter, and that's justice law. And there's something about that that says, maybe there's not going to be so much buy-in or conciliation by we the people, because there is a new moon in the sign of Virgo coming up this week as well. I'm not going to go into depth about that new moon, right? I'm just not on the 14th, because I have a whole long all signs video on the Virgo new moon that goes into exquisite detail for your sign. So just look on my channel for that video under my current transits or monthly moons playlist. All right, so let's back up time together. Let's go back in time like a time traveler and start off with the 11th, okay, which is Monday. And I'm going to talk about the general principles of the week, and then we're going to do all signs. So please stay for your all signs. There are timestamps, which mean that look in the comments, there's timestamps when this video goes out, and there's chapters, which means you can click on the title of the video and it will also give you jump ahead options to your sign. Now, just before we go ahead and do this again, Venus, Jupiter, as I said, can be this extravagance, right? Or this overinflation or this indulgence or hedonism. And my favorite book, I'm going to start an Amazon suggestions, kind of thing where I can, send you to where my favorite books are. But Ren Butler, one of my teachers, The Archetypal Universe, is a must-have for any astrologer. And I make no money by telling you this unless I set up my Amazon account, which I just might do as a affiliate for this kind of stuff. But I would like to share that his take on the shadow side of this is very well written, as is everything by Ren Butler. Actually, an amazing astrologer. And so I'm going to go into what he says here just for the gist of it before we talk about the week ahead. So a shadow quality can be the love of shopping, luxury and extravagance, rich living, overindulgence, decadent materialism, conspicuous consumption. And I love the quote by Tammy Faye Baker. She was the wife of a famous evangelist with big mascara, look like spider eyes. She says, I always say shopping is cheaper than a psychiatrist. So if you need to get shopping therapy in this week, my advice is to take a break from it and tie yourself up at home or tell a friend to talk you down. This is when you could accidentally buy a Ferrari when you meant to buy a Volvo. This is where you could think that Chanel suit was really worth the $5,000 when you get home and you changed your mind and it's buyer's remorse. So be careful, honestly, about overspending, over shopping, all of that kind of thing. And there is a ongoing thing about this kind of shadow quality that he talks about, the beautiful people, the excess of the celebrity and the fame, vanity and conceit, saccharine personalities, false happiness, a desire for everything to be super pleasurable and nice, and to sort of sweep the dark, gritty side of life under the carpet. So also then tend to what you need to do for your emotional health, but don't try to placate or pacify difficult people or situations by making it happy and nice, when in fact it's gnarly and critically tense. That's some suggestions for the week as a broad schema for each of us. Now, really, because it's so rare, and I don't know why astrologers don't often focus on the rarity of an event, if you want to go back to 1964, I was 2 years old, you want to go back to 1976, you can get, which I was 14 years old, or 2011, August kind of thing. You're going to get the flavor of this cycle in your personal sky. All right. And when we do all signs, I'll explain that in greater detail. So the other thing I want to say here before we move into the whole week ahead is that we have an energy here of Venus having been cooped up in Leo. Like she's been in that sign, cooped up. I'm stuck in Leo. I have to be famous. I have to be a celebrity. I have to be all over myself. I have to be on my diva game. And now she's leaving in only a month, in October 7th. And while she is here, she is able to do very powerful things now that she's moving direct, now that she's no longer retrograde, now that she's been sort of hunkered down there. And certainly because she's traveling with Juno, the goddess of committed vows, including love, This is kind of, I love a fellow astrologer called it the Cinderella complex, Candice Marie, who's coming on my channel to deep dive into an eclipse video with me. There's something good trying to happen here. Juno wants to seal a deal, a commitment of something on September 11th and 12th, which is going to be Monday and Tuesday. And the moon is there as well in Leo. Everyone's agreeing, let's do this thing. Now it is balsamic. It's a witchy, between the worlds, winding down, quiet moon. That's that fingernail last crescent. It's not prone to overt displays of crazy wild stuff, but Venus is here and Juno is here. So what kind of subtle, evocative, mysterious, spiritually aware business or love stories are playing out? Business partnerships, love partnerships, commitment level partnership developments, contracts sometimes are playing out for you on Monday and Tuesday in the Leo chunk of your sky. For me, that's my significant others, my audience. I mean, I'll give you an example. Maybe as an Aquarius rising, one of my people in my audience or my clients could come to me and want to make a deal or partner with me on something. I'll get an invitation to be on someone else's channel. I'm always inviting other people to mine, but I don't often get the invitations to be on their channel. That's very possibly what we're seeing here. Now, with Venus opposite Hygeia, I'm just giving me as an example. With Venus's opposition to Hygeia coming into this week, and she's been opposite Hygeia, who's retrograding, the goddess of hygiene and health, ever since her station direct on September 3rd. And all the news is about return to mask mandates and leaky stuff coming through the media that maybe the TSA has been told by the government to expect the airports to be all masked up again or more. There is this energy that gets entangled with this week, all the way through the week, actually. And well, the moon is here. Moon is like the people, right? We, the people, it's closing down shop. It's getting ready to have a new moon in Virgo for health on Wednesday. So I would say that that's something, the new moon is on Wednesday. Yep. That's something like, okay, I'm not going to buy this anymore. We, the people, are saying we're done, or we're not complying, possibly opposite the hygiene in the rules for society. So Monday and Tuesday, maybe some kind of, I don't know, big news stories about the people just saying no thank you, maybe even people in places of employment resisting employer mandates around that kind of stuff, especially with air travel. There's a Jupiter square. Jupiter rules air travel, and Jupiter is in a square to Venus opposite Hygeia. We call that a T square this week. You may see some real big tensions, like maybe flight attendants or pilots saying, no, we're not going to go with this mask program, thank you, whichever government tries to enforce it. You may see those, or staff of airlines saying, the people who work in the airlines, in the airports, not wanting to go back to masking. And you may see some resistance and rebellion. Why? This is this week because of Uranus. So I expect those to be collective stories, but you could rebel. You could go like, I'm not wearing a mask to the wedding, screw that, or whatever else is going on. I said wedding because Venus conjunct Jupiter can be a wedding, and conjunct Juno can be a wedding, and you're not going to mask up at the wedding or the wedding reception or something. So there's that resistance going on to things to do with hygiene, basically. And that usually looks like procedures for like social distancing, masking, the CDC just changed, you must stay 10 days at home and quarantine or wear a mask after COVID, after their really crazy, weird 5-day rule that they had. So we see these things coming back somehow, some way, unfortunately. I do a lot more on these kinds of stories and other videos. I'm not going to spend time on the public pandemic fiasco here. Okay, so moving on, I'm trying to look at my notes. If you wonder what that clicky sound is, it's my little notes. Having a hard time finding a place to perch my notes because there's wind in my room because it's hot here and I need my window open. Okay. Moving forward into the story, let's say that Monday and Tuesday, everybody feels very regal, very royal, very wanting to spend money, to make contracts that work, to be winding down in a sort of a spiritually astute way, balsamic moon, very kind of lingering into nostalgia and having nostalgic thoughts about your money, your abundance and stuff like that, wash or overspending still. Monday and Tuesday, 13 and 15, we have an engagement, a full engagement of that Venus square Jupiter. Well, we had it going into this week already. You were already feeling it. And as we move forward and we look at the sky as we progress the chart by a day, and now we're going to move forward into Wednesday. Wait, let me go back. I started on the 11th. I apologize, didn't I? That's the 10th. The 11th is Monday the 11th. In my time zone, Tuesday the 12th, moon in Leo, Everything I talked about moving forward. Moon enters Virgo on the 13th. The moon is headed for that new moon on the 14th, which is Thursday. And the bottom line is now the moon is with the sun and Mercury in his own sign, exalted in his home kingdom, very strongly commanding the sun and telling the sun what to do. Why does that matter? It's simple, because there's going to be this energy, especially towards Friday, Saturday, Sunday, of this completion of this square, not seen since your chart since 2011, but because the sun is under the guidance of Lord Mercury in his home sign. All right. And the sun is telling Venus what to do. You know, the buck stops here. Venus is saying, what do I do? What do I do? And she looks to the sun for guidance. The sun says, I have to look to Mercury for guidance. So pass the buck. So basically, Mercury has the final say. And Mercury says to Venus, it's all in the details, babe. You got to get the details right. You got to grind into the practical, the sturdy, and the reliable, but be flexible and adaptable and mutable. This is a mutable sign. Don't get stuck on one direction. Be willing to make changes when needed, but please assess the details. Look at the fine print. Look at the really tiny bits of the data you need to know in order to prosper financially, and in order to prosper and thrive and grow in love. So I like that. I remember the Sabian symbol really was positive for each of our individual lives of, that kind of sunshine coming out after a storm and the feeling of some kind of recovery. For some of us, we could experience a minor bump of financial recovery. For some of us, a love recovery or a friendship recovery, all right, or something along those lines. So here we have how we're all sort of sussing out the vibe and feeling on Wednesday, the 13th of the month. And then we're moving into that new moon that I do a whole video on it. So go watch the whole video. New moon up here. It's going to be at 21 Virgo. I did a lot of diving into what this is. It's not too bad, by the way, because it is in a trine to both Jupiter and Uranus. So that means it's going to have a real positive impact in your life based on your rising sign over the 6 months that follow this Virgo new moon with Lord Mercury in domicile. Yes, retrograde, but in domicile and exaltation, giving the moon an extra sweet power. And although we see this lunation opposite Neptune, it's a new beginning of clearing the fog and the confusion in some area of your life, depending on your sign, where you get support from Jupiter, Uranus to pull it all off. Again, watch my all signs video for the Virgo new moon that's already out and it's in the collective. You can go do that. Moving forward, then we move into the 15th. Now the 15th is going to be Friday, and you can see now the moon has moved into Libra, where we're looking for harmony, balance, and peace. But unfortunately, Mars has got a sharp sword here, and he's stabbing around everywhere he can go, subtly, passive-aggressive energies when Mars is in Libra, not wanting to appear angry. So silent treatment, no, I'm not angry, honey. Why do you say that? Well, like there's steam coming out of your friends or partner's ears or whatever. So don't expect overt anger, overt aggression, but expect something not to be quite so easy here. And the moon coming into this part of the sky on September 15th, which is Friday, is just short of this perfection of Venus and Jupiter. This is coming through energetically the next day. So when the moon moves into Libra on September 15th, and it's happening pretty well, I don't really bother with the time of day exactly, but just say on the 15th, you just feel a shift of the energies. The moon is taking instruction from Venus, and she's all about, can we cleave an agreement? Can we forge a contract? Can we make a commitment? And the moon is sextiling that to make a commitment to that friend, to that love partner, to that business partner, to that something Venus and Leo, Juno and Leo in your natal sky. So commitment wants to be forged. Mars is a little bit unsure. He wants to cut, sever, and end. So you may be pushed and pulled, but he's still having to deal with what Venus wants as well, because he's in her sign. And so is that moon. And moon Mars energy, which is going to really pick up steam on Friday and Saturday, can be angry people. We the people, riots and protests in the world about what? Hygiene, trining hygiene, right? Hygiene and health matters. So get ready for that. Maybe even as a celebrity, a female celebrity, queen or leader, or world leader, getting in on the side of maybe supporting the protest. I don't know, but some maybe collective stories along those lines as well. And the moon will eventually come to opposite opposite to Chiron, also on Friday, Saturday, and you may be feeling you have to deal with some kind of really wounded part of your sky to do with the Aries chunk of your sky. Again, we're not going to really focus too much on that. This is more pertinent for those of you know who your whole sign houses are, and think of maybe Friday, Saturday as healing something on the Libra Aries axis of your chart. Like if you were a Libra rising, it's stuff to do with your primary love relationship and healing that you could have during that time of Friday, Saturday, as you try to bind something that Mars would like to separate. So that's an example. It's different for each sign. I'm not going to delineate that in all signs. And as we move then into the weekend, of course, you see on the 16th, 17th, Friday and Saturday, we're going to have 15-degree Venus. And she finally breaks free on Monday, but she will still be in the square, activating that energy for 3 or 4 days after. So it's not just a one and done. You're still going to be feeling it pretty well until I'd say about here. No, that's a little bit too far out. 18 to 50. You'll still be feeling it till September 22nd. But the pinnacle of that, of course, is happening on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, especially on Saturday, Sunday. So what we're going to do is the all signs to see how this might play out in your life. And I'll keep reminding you to go back to 2011. Before I do, I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break and a bit of a break for myself. A shout out to all my amazing regulars who are always on my channel. I write you down, but I've been forgetting some of you. So thank you to some of the ones I forget to talk about lately. I was going to write you down today. Discerning Light. Thank you for being in part of my crew. Mad Hippie's Life, of course. KMR, Ace of Spades, Michael Thrash, Stephen the Jupiterian, and more. Of course, always Ellie Taylor, one of my best regulars, Misbehaving, Bold Beautiful Tarot, Noah Morgan, Balcon 200, One Wise Lady, Flower Remedy, Crystalline Alchemist, Grounded Extracts, and more. Thank you for being a part of the crew on the live premieres all the time with me, helping me grow my channel, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, let's also say one more thing before I do the all signs. I have my Sky Reader course. I forgot to mention it, coming out September 23rd. This is your last chance saloon to get in at the early bird discount rate, which expires on September 15th. So if you want to get into that course, the best way to do it is to sign up now. And the best way to do that is to use the code for the early bird discount, which I forgot to share last time, sorry. I forgot the code. It'll be in the description box. If you want to jump in before the 15th, 16th of September, we start on the 23rd. There's a bit of a discount by coming in a little bit early. Now let's get going and do all signs. And we are going to start with Aries. We're going to give each sign maybe about 5 or 6 minutes. I'm going to give you the historical context, but just a gentle reminder, listen for your rising sign, then listen for your sun, and then listen for your moon. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Your rising sign, you don't know it, you need a birth time. Cast your chart in whole sign houses using my free tutorial in my description box. Scroll down, freebies, and you'll know what to do. Don't know the meanings of the houses, and I don't cover every one in every single video. Get my free Meanings of the Houses PDF download in the description box below. Okay, then you will know more about your chart because you'll have enough information to do so. Sun can be about father figures, purpose, career. Moon, mother figures, home, your body sometimes. The rising sign is about everything to do with you, and everything you do in your life is all about you. It's the time you came into this world as a soul, sliced into reality by being born. It's unique to your time, place of birth. So it's a very much more intimate zone of your sky. Well, think about it. Everybody born in a 30-day window is an Aries sun. Everybody born in a 2.5 day window is an Aries moon. These are me. Everybody born in a 2-hour window is an Aquarius rising. So that's more intimate to you. The most intimate part of your chart is your midheaven. It's ticking along a degree every 4 minutes. Believe me, that's when we need an accurate birth time to do good astrology. Okay, so I'm going to pause the recording. I'll be right back. I'm just going to get a little fortification chocolate snack and talk about your week ahead, particularly Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, based on your sign. All right, guys, let's go through each sign. We'll start with Aries and we'll be off to the races. And here we go. Aries sun, Aries moon, but most accurate rising sign in my humble opinion. Sorry about the noise out there. I have my window open. It's hot. Basically what you've got going on here is that you have a not seen since 2011, and before that in 1976, kind of August, a Jupiter and square to Venus, Venus square to Jupiter. So basically This is a hot spot of your sky, houses 2 and houses 5. And this is to do with your earnings, your money, and your possessions, right? This is your second house. And anywhere you're excessive here in what you eat, put in your mouth, imbibe, swallow, that's your house of things you put in your food in your mouth. So any kind of excessiveness here, Jupiter's pulling back on the reins, but also for spending. We spend in the second, we earn in the second. Jupiter's pulling us backwards. Get a little bit of inner wisdom going on here, inner wealth as well. I need some kombucha. And it is so hot, I'm sweating. Whew. And basically Venus says, okay, let's look at this romantic love, sex, fifth house, children. Are you overspending on a child? I just bought my daughter a bunch of IKEA stuff for her apartment. Maybe I should have cut back and gone secondhand, but it was all brand new. Maybe that's a sign of I'm already indulgently spending on fifth house things, because I'm an Aries sun and moon. I'm giving you an example to do with the fifth house. So are you overspending about spending on and for children? Are you overspending on luxury, pleasure, indulgences this week? Be careful, because actually, the whole axis of leisure, pleasure, fifth house Venus squaring Jupiter in the second house of the money you have, looks like a cautionary note around certainly spending anything to do with something you think is of great pleasure to you, including leisure, travel in the fifth house. On the other hand, because it's an entrepreneurial fifth house, this could be a really good time for you if you're an entrepreneurial type or a creative of some sort, the muses in that fifth house, to really look at the devil is in the details, because that sun dispositing Venus says from your sixth house, it is your work routines and habits, your health routines and habits that are going to matter most in how this square can work on your behalf instead of against it. And so you're going to dive into better work routines and better health routines. I just found a book in a book bin on how to use a medicine ball thingy for better fitness, and I can do that at home. I don't need to be in a club, and I'm going to try those exercises out. I'm going to go to a physiotherapist. I'm going to my chiropractor this week. I'm already on it, and I don't even need the sun to be into Virgo dispositing, giving me instructions. Did I say that right? I mean, the moon. Excuse me. This is what happens when you're in a hot sweat, guys. Let me go into what I was really trying to show you. The moon is there too. Give me a sec. We're going back. I wanted to show you where that was going to be. Oh no, that's what I wanted to say. That's really what I wanted to say. I'm back to, this is called, excuse me, a little delirium. I am literally dripping buckets here. I think I probably should have considered a fan before I started. All right, so there's that. So the sun is like, okay, guys, let's get this together. And your habits of work and health routines, how can you fortify your abundance and not let Venus lead you to excess alcohol, drugs, pleasure, excessive, sex, or something that's just not sort of fortifying your better strategy and success and prosperity in your life for both your earnings, but also in ways that you choose to spend money. You're going to choose more wisely anyway. Venus doesn't prefer that, but Jupiter's retrograde. And so he's more like your inner guru, is whispering in your ear, buy it secondhand, conserve or save if you can. And I go back to 2011 as an Aries sun and moon, and I think about what was happening in my life then. That would have been in August of 2011. I was gallivanting on a leisure trip to England and spending a lot of money. And I was definitely in an excessive spending mode. At the very least, I can attest to that. Okay. Let's keep going and talk about the Tauruses. Taurus, sun, moon, especially rising. You got this energy, and if you're in the live premiere, I always forget to ask you guys to hit that like button lately. I keep forgetting that it's an essential part of the algorithm. So thank you. If you are a Taurus rising, Jupiter moving through the house of you, now that's been ongoing, right? That started up way back in the day. Well, not way back, but it started up in this May of 2023 and completes in May of 2024 at the end of the month of May. And so you're going to prosper by being more magnanimous, more leaderful, more charismatic, attractive, and magnetic. Okay, you're becoming like the king of Mount Olympus in your energetic field, and you may even gain some weight or get pregnant with this transit. So that's a backstory. And this is a time that you haven't seen since 2011, August, where Jupiter in the house of you ends up having a discussion with Venus in the fourth house of property, home, land, and real estate, or your domestic private life. Now, obviously, there can be some kind of desire for some excessive hedonistic leisure or pleasure or indulgence regarding property, home, and real estate. You might want to buy, get a designer in there, and the charge is going to be gazillions of dollars for her work or his work, and you wonder what you're doing, and you may be, oh, that's expensive, or you may just be also finding that what you're doing in and from home to be very costly. With Juno here, you may want to make a contract or an agreement of some kind with somebody, like a designer, a painter, but watch out here, because Venus is in the house of, she's a luxury goddess in the house of the home. Do you really need the Sub-Zero refrigerator this week? Could you just get a normal, LNG refrigerator or something like that? There's really something just that simple going on this week. The deeper energies than this micro circumstances is the sun says, Venus says, can we prosper about homeland and real estate? And Jupiter rules your house of mortgages. And so some of you might be a refinancing, buying or selling of a house, a credit card refinance, a home equity loan. Maybe some of these things can be up for some Tauruses for sure. But I would say that the sun in the fifth house with Mercury at home, Lord Mercury, the buck stops with Mercury, right? The sun disposits Venus, Mercury, the buck stops with him. Fine print, details, look at the details of that entrepreneurial situation, of that situation with a child at home and overspending for that child. Look at the details of situations to do with how you're going to use your entrepreneurial talents in a way that fortify your prosperity in and from your home, etc. I lots of times Juno down here can be a real estate deal, a contract or a vow to buy or sell a property, right? And so keep your eye on that ball, but just be careful, watch those details. Fifth house details especially can involve things to do with your children or your romantic partner, somehow relevant or germane to this story. The devil is in the details, basically, and you can prosper and thrive through good things happening in property, home, and real estate, but you need to look carefully at the fine print, especially as we approach the 16th, when the sun is forming a trine to Uranus, which can mean something like really exciting opportunities on the weekend, but need a level eye on the fine print. It's okay to change your mind. Mercury here in domicile turns around, he's turned around, he's going direct. You may be changing your mind on something to do with home, property, and real estate and deals around that, and that's okay too. That would be a very wise move. You're allowed to be adaptable and flexible. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a square not seen since August of 2011 that involves Venus in your third house of your siblings, trips, journeys, and travels a short distance. This can be your online social media world, websites. It can be writing projects. It can be skills-based learning. So travel is here, learning is here. And you've got a Venus here that is, Venus. She just wants to go really big on whatever she wants to do in Leo. She's all about, herself, very feisty and fiery and full of it all, and, wants what she wants. And all of a sudden, you have to account for this week, the square from Jupiter in the 12th house. Now, on a practical level, this can be something like this excess that can hedonistic, overindulgent excess energy that can be playing out through a part of your sky that involves foreigners or foreign shores. If, like me, you make money from foreign countries, which I do, because my clients and my business are international, then the Jupiter is trying to help you deepen your strategies as he's retrograding, and Venus is just wanting more money. So I don't know what to say. I mean, I have my progressed sun in Gemini. I'm teaching Sky Reader yet again, the fourth time. Maybe it's about telling me less is more. Don't let too many people sign up, even if they want to, because I don't know if I want to handle that overindulgent, extravagant amount of students in one class. That could be something very simple. If you go back to 2011, especially, you might go back to the August and remember some of the stress between 12th and 3rd house matters. 12th house could be hospitals, insane asylums, the underprivileged, or people who don't have your back. And Jupiter there can be like, okay, some leader, teacher type person is undermining you as you're trying to succeed in your 3rd house of travel and teaching. It certainly doesn't bode well you could overspend for a trip. I mean, this can be an overindulgence. You want to go first class suddenly, or you're going to pay for a ticket that's the last one available and it's a fortune. So be careful for overseas or international travel decisions. without taking a fine eye to the details, because that's what this is about. Mercury disposits the sun, disposits Venus. Mercury goes details, details, details. Does this thing to do with spending or learning or money from abroad or foreign shores really work with what's going on in your home life? Mercury here is going to be, he's been here for 2 months in your Virgo part of your chart. You haven't seen him there for 2 months since 2016. And he's leaving in October, but he's been really trying to help you fine tune the details of how you can be commercially successful in and from your home, buying, selling, or communicating. So this is a story that's really picking up some kind of power of looking at the details this week, especially on the weekend, and making sure that you go, oh yeah, yeah, Mercury, you're right. This trip, this course I want to teach or take or give or learn. The sibling relationship, I almost forgot, of course. Younger sibling can be the third house, but siblings in general can be the third house. So also some tension with a sibling can be possible, especially if the sibling is connected to foreigners, foreign shores, or lives in a foreign land. And this week you may have to resolve that. Juno wants to bind what is separating, so you may be able to resolve that in some way, especially with the moon over here in the fifth house, bringing some kind of desire for harmonious binding of or contractual agreements around things that could cause separation or discord with a sibling, or with travel agreements, or with learning situations. Oh, finally, I mean, Venus is where you have shops, restaurants, bars, this is the local neighbor's neighborhood. Be careful, obviously. That can be really you just going over the top in a restaurant setting and spending way too much money, or being extravagant in a local setting of some sort, buying a new car. Third house can be cars sometimes, but just watch your spending here. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. In the story here, we have some degree of problem that you haven't seen since August of 2011 between Venus in the house of your earnings and spending and your possessions, and Jupiter in the house of your friendships, great gains from your career, your elder sibling, your hopes, dreams, and wishes for your life. Now, tends to be when Jupiter's up here, and he'll be here until the end of next May, that you're going to be making a lot more money and expanding your earnings in your career, because the 11th house is the money you gain from your 10th house career and reputation. But it's also elder sibling and also friends as benefactors, friends who want to help you, who want to be an ally for you, groups that you belong to. And Jupiter up here, he's got a little bit more wisdom when he's retrograde. He's the inner wealth guru. He's going inward. And Venus is just like, let's spend some money. Let's buy that thing. Let's go treat all of my friends to a party this week. Let's go to, let's have an extravagant spend for my face, so my friends will like the way I look when I have this expensive dermabrasion, crazy ass new, veneers on my teeth. I mean, Venus is about cosmetic procedures and cosmetics. This is the house of the face, the second house. Be cautious about overspending on your face in some way. But squaring Jupiter, maybe the friends wouldn't even like what you got yourself into here, or it impinges on your financial greatness that you're capable of, by having some unnecessary luxury item spending going on. Of course, you may not remember August of 2011 when this last happened. It's also a deeper story because we have Juno here. You may make a commitment or a vow to change your food style, change your diet style, change your spending habits, change your earning strategies as well. This can classically look like the tension to up your prices for something, because if you could set a new price or ask for a raise, this could look like that. But you're tense about it, and there's this feeling of maybe reserve, Jupiter square, you're not sure you deserve it. Certainly if that's true, look to Mercury and the sun in your third house, because you can change your mind on something regarding earnings and career or food styles, but also you can get the kind of detailed orientation and the fine print perspective that you need in order to make right choices around this tension with Venus in the second house. Laughingly, a sibling can give you a good eye of the way you need to see the details of the situation and the fine print, not to overdo something, especially a younger sibling. Don't overspend as well on any travel opportunities coming up for you, because Jupiter rules travel and Mercury is the buck stops here guy in the house of short distance travel. So look for the deal. You could end up buying an expensive ticket that you regret this in this next week ahead as a Cancer sun, moon, and rising. All right, Leo, sun, moon, and rising. So back in 2011, and here we go again, August of 2011, Venus is moving through the house of you. You're more pretty, beautiful, congenial, popular, persuasive, and charming than you normally are. And you're probably busy fixing your hair because Leos love their mane, and Venus is giving you all the systems go to get amazing new wardrobes and haircuts. And she's been here since June, and she's going to leave in October 7th or so. And so this is a rare transit. You're really experiencing a huge amount of glow, and you may be feeling beautiful. It also can be a fertility transit for pregnancy. And as Venus is going through the house of you, she's forming a square to Jupiter in your career reputation house. So you've got tension between yourself and all of the ways you wish to be ever so beautiful, ever so expansive, ever so indulgent and extravagant, especially around commitments that you're making in business and love. And Jupiter, who's retrograding in your 10th house of your boss, the boss, your reputation and your career and your work life. So visible work life. Jupiter retrograding, squaring Venus can be some tension with somebody in the work and career space, basically this week ahead, where you've got your charm offensive on and you know what you want and you're going for what you desire, and there's some kind of friction with somebody in power over you. However, the solution lies in the Mercury Sun part of the story in your 2nd house of earnings and the way you speak. And Mercury communicates, and this is a house of speech. You can speak with precision and detail and intelligence to someone objecting to you in a career and work environment, and you will be able to soothe that narrative in a very effective way and get the contract negotiation deal that you need and want in your life, because Mercury is trying to up level you for 2 months in your earnings, and he's been working hard to give you better commercial success, and that is happening, and financial success, and that's going to happen to be a part of what this could open up for you. If you look at that detail, you're willing to change your mind on a situation in work, and you're willing to step off of your high horse or your throne and be a little bit more of a negotiator about what you want in order to thrive in financial and prosperity areas of your story regarding the work and career story as well. So Virgo, sun, moon, and especially rising sign. Now Venus is moving in, has been for 4 months, through your 12th house of bed pleasures. It can be addictions and self-undoing. And she's basically been trying to show you how you can go overboard and overindulge in things that undo you or sabotage your reality. Or she may have been trying to reintroduce you to the positivity of your sex life, basically, as one of the meanings, or what you really want to do and enjoy in the privacy of your bedroom, including reading books, watching Netflix. You're trying to find that sort of zone of yay for 4 months, June, July, August, September into October. And well, this is something that hasn't happened since 2011, August, right? She comes into a tense aspect with Jupiter in the house of education, higher education. So professors, teachers, academic environments, the book publishing area, or foreign countries, and travel to foreign lands, including visas and passports, and also judges and legal matters. So since backroom deals and negotiations that are out of sight can be the 12th house, there's also the possibility that women are conniving behind your back in backroom deals and negotiating ways, especially maybe regarding things that have to do with your work life, but also have to do with your ability to succeed in academic environments, in court and legal matters, in third marriage environments. I'm thinking about 9th house meetings. You could also have some kind of foreign land thing going on big time. I have a Virgo rising girlfriend who's traveling around Europe right now. And during this week ahead, there could be some significant problems coming up in the privacy of her travels and her bed pleasures, so to speak. Now, Hygeia across the way, I just don't do this for all signs, but it is like hygiene in the house of pets. So some of you may be having a health challenge with a pet, and it could also disrupt some plans regarding travel or father figures, 9th house, or legal matters as well, or legal matters that are stressful regarding tenancies and rental property situations as well. You can't really put I can't put a finger on the contractual part of the 12th house other than an agreement or a contract or a vow regarding things to do with your 9th house matters. Now, Venus here with Juno can be asking you to recommit to a relationship or a deeper commitment in an existing love relationship. She does exalt your marriage house, but the deeper commitment may involve really, really going deep into what kind of intimacy and what kind of conversation you want to have regarding intimacy. We do have Mars Moon opposite Chiron in a house of sexual intimacy. So there's some really breakthrough potential for sexual intimacy for some of you Virgos as well during this week ahead, especially towards the weekend of Friday and Saturday. All said and done, Mercury and the Sun are you. Mercury is your ruler. He's moving through your house of you. He's been here 2 months. You haven't seen that since 2016. You're really on your game. You're making really good decisions. Your mind is sharp. He's now direct as of the 15th of the month of September. So this week he brings himself into direct motion, and you're really getting a lot of clear mind around what you want, and you may be changing your mind about things that you thought you wanted, because when he was retrograde and now direct this week, that's a change of mind about something. Change of mind about an academic situation, or a change of mind because he deposits the Sun who deposits Venus about your relationship and what you really want in that relationship, okay? Especially regarding the sexual intimacy or the fun and play, the bed pleasures of that connection. Those are just some possibilities. Oh, lastly, if you make money from foreign shores and revenue in any possible way, you might be bumping into some legal matters, some visa matters, some court matters around that. The devil is in the details. You need to do the research. Find the clear fine print you need to succeed. Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Libra, Libra, Libra. Well, in the sky, Venus is in your 11th house, and she's squaring Jupiter. 11th house is a good spirit, by the way, positive house. She's squaring Jupiter in your 8th house of that chunky money. Let's break that down. First of all, you haven't seen this since August of 2011. Before that, 1976 August. It's a relatively rare event. And Venus here is going to be having a desire to extend herself into diva-like pleasures to do with socialization, groups of friends, to get more great gains from that career, to push hard for greater career gains, to really grind into success in your career financially and reputation-wise, maybe. She may also put you into a mode of just really wanting to overindulge and be excessively hedonistic in social group environments with other people. And how much fun is too much fun, really, with those friends of yours. And then on top of that, she is in a square to Jupiter, and that's a money house. Also sexual secrets, another secrets house as well. Certainly a secret could be revealed through a friendship group that is disturbing your peace, especially that. But on the other hand, Jupiter here is trying to bounty up your money and bring you a greater thrival financially through inheritances and chunks of money and other things until next May, end of the year. And, having Jupiter in the 8th house squaring Venus, excessive indulgence can be, you're digging into the trust fund or spending money that would rather be investing in something for some excessive pleasure in the 11th house. Well, it's your wishes and dreams for your life. Maybe you've always wanted I don't know what you've always wanted. What have you dreamed of having? Because what you want for your life, you may just try to grab it at the expense of money you don't really want to spend, or disconnect from investments or from places where the money could be growing. Be careful for that. There's also this potential for an overindulgence in a sexual relationship involving a friend, where your friends with benefits thing suddenly spins out of control. You may want to make a vow or an agreement or a contract with a friend or an elder sibling that could also be gritty, but you would like to do that for some more prosperity in your life, to do with inheritances or other types of money. Because this is finally the buck stops with Mercury, right? Sun disposits Venus, Mercury disposits the Sun. Your 12th house, Mercury has a lot of the cards in his hand. This is where you could self-sabotage yourself, except that Mercury's helping Jupiter. So long story short, you might want to do some backroom deals and negotiations to shore up some financial passive income or royalty or commission monies that could be coming from your career. You may want to negotiate something behind the scenes with bosses or people in power to better benefit you, like a severance package, a new level of commission structure if you're selling things, especially if you're selling something internationally. or the company you work for is an international company. This is about renegotiating the terms of your money that you're making in those situations this week. And that devil in the details of doing the diligent work to know what you want is important, but you may also change your mind this week to do with things to do with how you'd like to handle the great career gains and the money you're deriving from that, or from inheritances or investments as well. Wow, it's been noisy outside my window today, guys. I'm so sorry about that. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising in the sky. You've got this Mercury opposite, this Venus in your 10th house, not seen since 2011 August, and she's never mind. And she's talking to Jupiter in a square. The square to Jupiter is literally like, where, Scorpio, do you need to sort of curtail or come to terms with the tension between your marriage partner and you in your success in your workspace? June, July, August, September into October, you've been killing it in your work, commissions, I don't know, whatever, reputation, raises, promotions, or something. You should have been having something good going on in your workspace. If you haven't had career and work reputation up levels, then we need to look at your chart, really. When you devil's in the details, but the general bell curve of Scorpios have had a nice run in their career over the last 4 months. And here we have Venus still wanting to be that successful diva, now moving direct. And she comes into conflict with Saturn. That's usually a business partner, a client, or your significant other who is objecting here and wanting to deepen and slow down and be more fixed. And Venus wants to break out and break free and be more diva. So look for that tension this week, especially on the weekend ahead. But, you could also be looking at contractual agreements and arrangements with women or people in your workspace that you want to forge this week, to nail down a new terms of service, agreement, or contract about work situations. And legal matters are Jupiter in the 7th, and it's just really hard to iron out the details of some new work or career arrangement that involves a contract or agreements that are legally binding. And you end up with Mercury as the final buck stops here guy saying, well, I've got the details over here, but lean into guidance from an elder sibling or a friend, or you may change your mind about what you actually want in terms of the magnitude of the commercial gain or success you thought you wanted. Maybe you didn't want enough, now you want more. Maybe you want more, less than more, because you're becoming more detail oriented, more practical in Virgo, but willing to adapt and change your mind. The 11th house, it's a good house. It's a rewarding house. It's a lucky house. And so with Mercury here and the sun as well, it looks like you can get what you want in any kind of work and contractual situation. If it is about your spouse, though, there's no easy way to iron out that tension. It's not like a simple fix, okay? More health and hygiene in the home can help resolve some of the tension with a spouse. It could mean simply clean up the frigging mess and make them happy. Alrighty, let's keep on going. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. And you're going to find this is a big deal for you. Jupiter is the lord of your sign, as it is as well for Pisces. And Jupiter is in the sign of your Taurus, your 6th house, until the end of May next year. It's been there since this May, and that's really good for work and work up levels and workspace things, and better for health as well. So career, work, and health are improving. At the same time, this week ahead, especially towards the weekend, there's this building Venus square from the 9th house of foreign travel, foreign lands, legal matters, courts, book publishing. You haven't seen third marriages, academic environments, father figures, mentors and guides, therapists sometimes. Someone's objecting, you're objecting, you could overindulge here. You haven't seen this overindulgence since 2011. This hedonistic excess is possible with that square to Jupiter on this axis, but you may spend far too much money for a foreign trip at the expense of your health, the expense of the daily work routines that support greater growth and success in your life and in your career. And so be careful around excessive spending, definitely around travel, but also maybe around matters to do with legal court situations, or even don't get the most high price fancy lawyer, right? Or don't, maybe necessarily the most expensive school isn't the best school. What is this about for you? Overindulging with Venus in the ninth house. This is a Lakshmi house for luck and prosperity, and she's up here, and it literally can look like a huge amount of indulgent spending that you need to be careful with, mostly about travel, but also potentially the cost of tuitions for learning that are not affordable for you at this point in your life or for travel. The buck stops with Mercury in your 10th house. Mercury's trying to help you if you need to change your mind this week about something to do with, because the sun is there as well, travel, visas, and course in academic environments or book publishing. Go ahead and change your mind. The devil is in the details. Mercury can bring you something far better as he's going direct through to October the 5th in your 10th house. And with the sun up there as well this week, right, until about the 23rd of September, with the sun up there, you've got a lot of support until about September 23rd to pull off something exceptional in that ninth house. If you really look at those details and you have new ideas, change your mind, and you're practical. So I have a Sag friend who's got a book shopped out to an agent, for example. Maybe it's about being practical or about the expense of, how much money you're willing to give away in a commission. I mean, many things like that really could happen here. Finally, Mercury could also say, information and news is coming through in the next week that will really help you soothe out this declarative tension of excess that is trying to beleaguer you in that ninth house. At the very least, do not overindulge on tickets to travel at the expense of health or work. All right, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, especially rising sign. Last time this happened, 2011, August, right? Maybe, and before that, 1976. This is Venus in Leo squaring Jupiter in Taurus. So we have a story here of tension between your chunky money house. This is your stock investments. This is your 401k. This is your banks, your credit cards, your taxes. This is a credit money shared with a spouse or with a business partner, perhaps. And did I say inheritances? Now, Venus here is in a square to Jupiter in the house of children. It looks very classically like you could overly indulge in spending by taking money out of investments or something in order to support a child. Or Jupiter's trying to conserve energies regarding children or sometimes romantic love. And Venus is like excessively indulgent and would like to extravagantly pull money out of investments or tax havens or something. So be careful with those kinds of resources. With Jupiter in your fifth house, pleasure and leisure and leisure travel highlighted, and excessive spending could be there. Alimony, spousal support, eighth house, either you're the one receiving or giving it. Tension this week regarding children, maybe in child support and issues to do with that as well, can be very big for you. Jupiter in the fifth house, if you are entrepreneurial, is trying to really nail that for you by the end of May next year, becoming very successful in your creative or entrepreneurial type endeavors, including consulting, for example, or creative endeavors as well. And here we have this story where Venus is like just this week, right? Like into early next week, creating some friction. She has that happy ending Sabian symbol, so things can work out. Look to contracts and agreements financially that may involve entrepreneurial opportunities this week. But the way it's going to work the best is if you listen to Mercury in your ninth house. Look at the fine detail around visas, court and legal matters. Look at the fine print and the details around things to do with judges and lawyers or guides and mentors or advisors who can give you kind of a hand of the king approach to your decisions in your chunky money house this week, because it's easy for you to overdo some expenditure and it's not necessary. And you may change your mind about things to do with foreign lands and travel, or things to do with legal and court matters, or things to do with your spiritual approach to life as well. But it all supports greater abundance in that fifth house of money, luck. And some speculations will do you really well. Not now. Back after December 29th of the May, you can be more lucky by investing in markets or doing your research on that than you normally are. So keep that in mind. So hold off right now. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, there's going to be a stock market correction pretty well. Venus squaring Uranus next week, and Mars on the South Node into late September, early October does not look like a good time to get into a downdrafting market. Wait till things bottom and play the markets next year, and that still won't be a bottom, but you won't be buying high. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not your medical or financial advisor, but I'm giving you suggestions of general principle ideas. All right, I'm an Aquarius sun, moon, and rising, just like you guys. And what I've got going on at the bottom of the sky is Jupiter, Uranus, squaring Venus in the 7th, last seen in 2011. Energetically, Venus is like, she's having a diva-like experience June, July, August, September, and October in primary business and love. Also clients and audience. For me, this has been a big boom in my YouTube channel numbers and my revenues for my ads and stuff, to be expected with Venus in my marketplace house for 4 months. Now she's like all gung-ho to make a contract. This is probably, for a lot of Aquarius, is a legal wedding or engagement or legal matters to do with a love story having to be looked at this week, as well as maybe new business contracts or agreements or partnerships forming this week. But because there's a square to Jupiter in the 4th house of property, home, and real estate, there's tension in and from the home. And it can be a sudden need to move your home, change your home, expand your home, or problems with the actual house you're in as a vis-a-vis your significant marriage or business partner. Now, excessive indulgence and spending can definitely happen, but maybe your partner's a spender, not you, because Venus is the house of the other. And you're, Jupiter wise one in the house of your home. You might be like, hey, partner of mine, we do not need to buy a fancy Ethan Allen sofa when there's this great sofa on resale over here on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. So there's a reining in of indulgence or excess, but maybe it's not your excess or indulgence, really. I think Mercury is the telltale answer to this problem, because he is the one who rules the sun, which rules Venus. And so Mercury is like, look more clearly at things that are connected to your investments, your tax status, tax rebates, how you might want to renegotiate things to do with those parts of your chart and change your mind in a new way and go forward. Mercury is a god of marketing, but also the markets, and this is the house of the markets. So as he goes direct now through to the end of the year, you may make some decisions around investment stocks, 401k, tax status, and stuff like that. You may change your mind about what you were doing in that area, but that will fortify things for you very strongly to do with how you can prosper in and from your home. And you may take out a loan, but it'd be the best loan possible. And you may want to invest in something, but it's the best investment possible. So look for investment opportunities as well this week ahead, that also help kind of mitigate some excessiveness in primary business love partnerships. Now, I'll use me as an example. I'm killing it in my ad revenue, maybe let's say in YouTube land this last few months. Thank you, Venus. But at the cost of maybe my sage-like countenance of wisdom in my home, because I'm so busy in meeting the audience with my declarative, fancy, Venus energy, my videos or something, and I need to solidify my finances and not be so focused on the production of videos. I'm making a story up just for fun. Okay, let's keep going and talk about the next sign, which is the Pisces sun, moon, and rising people. So Venus is an exaltation lord for your sign, and so you have a special relationship with her, and Jupiter rules your sign. So both planets are very meaningful to you as a Pisces sun, moon, and rising sign. And when Venus last seen in 2011, August, was in your 6th house of work and health, in Leo, there's a lot of focus there to find pleasurable ways to be healthy, to find pleasurable ways to do your daily work routine or workout routine, depending on what you're up to. And this is also the house of pets and contracts around leases and properties, to lease, to be the renter or the landlord, it doesn't really matter. And also about debt, money owed to you or money you owe can be in the 6th house. So Venus has been giving you some guidance here, and she's not going to be gone until till October. She's been here since the beginning of June, and she's meeting up with contractual Juno. That definitely looks like an opportunity for a work contract for sure, or a binding oath around health matters or around rental property matters, but also the involvement of Jupiter in your 3rd house of siblings and travel and learning is important. So there can be some friction this week around travel plans or travel opportunities and work and health situations. And the excess of the indulgence, extravagance of Venus in the sixth house squaring Jupiter can be some excess expenses around travel or excess expenses around siblings, but also around things that are other things that are third house. And Jupiter's trying to rein it in. Third house could be courses you want to take and learn from or teach, too much money on a tuition, too much money on a plane ticket, too much money on a sibling. So you may have time to reflect on that this week, but Mercury's in charge and he's in your seventh house, and he is the one who has the buck stops here. He's the dispositor of the sun who disposits Venus. So that's where we end up seeing the final say. A significant other in your life, a business partner, marriage partner, maybe a client, can be pivotal for you this week into early next week around helping you make firm, solid, detail-oriented decisions, and even focused on how you can be adaptable or they're adaptable, but they're also useful to you. So you might want to look at your significant business or marriage type partner and actually ask for guidance maybe, or advice, or, because Mercury here is really sharp. He's in his exaltation. He's with the sun. He's luminously able to perceive what is needed, but you're not the perceiver. It's somebody else in your life. So this is often, a client, a business partner, or a marriage partner, or some significant friend, because, Mercury is friendship as well. It was really important to you, can lend insight for you and some perspective, intelligent perspective that helps you form better choices around excess indulgences, around health and travel, pets, and legal contracts to do with tenancies and renting. If you want to get a pet under this Venus square Jupiter, you're going to spend way too much money, for example. If you want to rent a property under this energy, especially if your IC is in the third, you're going to overpay. So lean into that Mercury support, more powerful later in the week as we see things develop on the weekend where clarity can emerge in this part of your sky. Thanks for listening, everybody. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Check out my Sky Reader starting the third week of September. Information in the description box for you to sign up. And probably limit to maybe 30 people signed up already. I usually limit it somewhere between 40 and 50 maximum, so I can keep track of you guys. I don't have a staff, it's just me at this point. And if I'm never going to teach this again, I don't know. So if you really want to be your own astrologer, time your best life, check the description box. Thanks to my regulars in the live chat today. I appreciate all of you. Ace of Spades as well. Purple Table Tarot, the Pharaoh Writer, did I say Crystalline Alchemist, Herbal Empress, who else am I forgetting? Linda Calder, Noah Morgan, thank you very much. If you're here today watching, I'm just giving you guys appreciation and love. And I'm going to have a big party. I haven't had it yet. I thought I'd do it this weekend. I might have time to prepare. I might just do a live next weekend where if you're in the live with me, I'm giving away 3 prizes, 3 readings, the half hour, the hour, and the hour, 75-minute magic you're born for. And they're on my website, the 3 readings. And yes, I'm giving them away, but you won't be able to book with me until next summer. I'm full, but you could still win one of those readings and you can share it with a friend if you don't want it yourself. Okay, so stay tuned for the big giveaway party that's celebrating 40,000 subscribers. I'll be having another one at 50,000 subscribers, but I love to big party on these big events. Ciao, everyone. Have a wonderful week ahead.